Friday here on Everyday Struggle, my favorite day of the week. Academics, Wayno, how are you guys doing this morning?
Man. On Mondays, you be like dying. Thursdays, we here!
You made it.
Thursday is lit. It's gonna be a lit
Look,
Thursday.
sleeping 4 hours like a night every night kind of sucks. I don't know if you guys go to bed early. Yeah, that shit, it catches up to you by the end of the week. Yeah. So that's why I'm always so hyped.
4 to 5 hours myself.
Every night though?
I could do 4 to 5. Like I rarely get to do 8.
That's what I do every night, but not.
All I need is a nice cup of warm Hennessy tea, and does the job.
I thought you were Henny free all week.
I haven't.
You're so clear-eyed. I love it. I love it. All right, Ak. Let's get into the show. What's the problem? This one's for you.
You never know when I've been drinking. Go ahead.
I always know. You just think I don't. Okay, you know what?
Pause.
So Akademiks wanted Drake to be on Carter 5, and he wasn't. So Lil Wayne explained why. He said he sat down with Elliot Wilson for a Crown interview in New Orleans and explained what happened. Let's take a look.
Folks is disappointed Drake's not on the album, man.
He has a song that didn't get cleared, man. Y'all got them clearances, man. Them clearances, man. People be tripping when they find out who it is or when they find out what the song subject about. They be like, they don't want that to represent the names like that or something like that, you know.
Cool, you good now?
All right, you got some clarification?
It was just a clearance issue.
Was that clarification? Because
there was a song, it just didn't make the cut.
Well, that could mean a bunch of things. It could mean, because I'm still a little bit hazy on Drake's situation with Young Money. It could mean Drake didn't get clear. It could mean the song or the sample. If that's, I'm guessing he's probably hinted at a sample.
Yeah.
But he wasn't that clear on that explanation.
Okay, that sounded like clear in terms of Drake and Nicki.
Something didn't get clear.
I know you want to get to the...
In terms of how Wayne explains things, right? It sounded like he was talking about a sample, which a sample could be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because when he said people didn't want it to, they was worried about how it represented them, they probably sampled somebody else. And the thing at that point, you could either replay the beat or use another beat, but if you do that, you kind of take away from the whole record. So you just do away with it at that point.
That makes sense. Yeah. A lot of people have issues clearing samples. It happens a lot. Unfortunate that it's a Drake track, but if you want to know about him and Nicki specifically, Wayne also addressed their status on Young Money. He said they still have their own thing and they're still with me as well. They've always had their own thing. Now it's just that they have the opportunity to let me make their own thing shine brighter than it has. They're still my artist.
I'm not listening to nothing Wayne says about a label. That nigga just got out of his contract, which he was in for like 10 years and couldn't drop an album. If I was reading all them documents that he was filing papers, he ain't know what was going on with himself. I'm not listening to him for nothing that's going on with Nicki. It looks like Nicki and Drake, they have been operating independently, which is good for them. And what I mean by that is not that they don't use or support like Young Money, Cash Money when that was an infrastructure, but they do their thing through Republic, and of course they still fuck with the family. But I don't know if Wayne is going to be the person who's still driving their careers. And I don't think it has been since their first albums.
I don't think it's about him driving their careers, but it's more so about Wayne getting out of his situation. He might have a little bit more opportunity on his side now. Like, let's not forget, if it's not for Wayne, there is no Nicki or Drake on the platform that they at. Now, they built themselves out of Young Money. Like, when you think of Drake, you think of OVO. When you think of Nicki, you think of Nicki. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're still his artist. So he probably just got more different opportunities outside of just music that he could help with, you know?
Remember, we still want the Wayne and Drake tour, part 2.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
He also talked about XXXTentacion being featured on the album and Don't Cry. So he said Mac Man had a lot to do with the sequence of the album, that he wasn't really familiar with X before the collaboration happened. But we still enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, I believe that though. I believe that. Like, you know, I think a lot of artists, especially artists like Wayne, kind of lives in his own world. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of lives in his own world, especially when it comes to music. You know, like, a lot of stuff that we may think that, we know that we engage with on a daily basis, they're not checking for at all, so.
We know Wayne's checking for sports all the time.
All the time.
So all his tweets, we know that, like, he's Sports Center all day.
Well, I'm glad that Mac Man and some other people around him to kind of help him, because that was one of my concerns prior to the album being released. You could sound out of touch. If you don't know who or what the new artist that's doing the music, that, I mean, you could even say some of the styles may have derived from you, or shit, it's just the music of today. If you have no idea about who those artists are, and he's came out before citing that he didn't know like a bunch of artists who were relevant at the time, that concerned me, right? Or saying like, hey, his kids had to put him up on a bunch of stuff.
Concern?
Of course.
Why? I mean, but because this is the conversation we was having about like what Wayne in general was making this album. I don't think that he has to stay in line or stay up to date with everything that's going on to make the type of music that he makes. Because the music that we like from Wayne, we like from Wayne. If XXX wasn't even on the album, it would have been the same album. I mean, it was a good feature, but it would have been the same album.
Regardless of X, if you don't even know who's the current rappers at the time and you're dropping an album, that's concerning to me. Like, imagine, and somebody definitely said stop using sport reference. If Jordan came back to the fucking league and you don't know who was even playing, that's concerning, bro.
That's really different. It's not the same with sports as it is with raps in that aspect. And that aspect is totally different.
Music doesn't just happen in a vacuum.
I'm sorry?
Music doesn't happen just in a vacuum.
Wait a second. When you talking sports, you got to remember, when you use Michael Jordan as a reference, understand that Michael Jordan is a team owner and he signs off on who they pick in drafts, trades, all of that. Wait a second. You used it as a reference.
I was using this analogy, like, say he was a player. Say he was a player. You get what I mean? Like, say like... All right, bad enough. I don't even want to get into
just away from the sports analogies.
I'm saying, say he was come back for his third time to play basketball, like, and he wasn't this fucking old, and he just had zero idea what was going on with the league.
I feel you. I think for most artists,
you're out of touch a little bit.
Yeah, but for Wayne, it's like for Wayne, I don't know that it matters that much. But I understand your point. For an artist in general, you should know what's happening.
You should definitely know what's going on. But for Wayne, you don't need to know what's going on to be Wayne. You know what I'm saying?
Just because this album was going to be a moment regardless.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no, of course. But I do feel like it's hard for me to look at you and you're supposed to be this guy who is so into the music and you don't know nothing about nothing beyond what you do.
Supposed
like
to be?
A lot of people.
He's supposed to be.
Hold on. That's why Kodak called him out. I was like, nigga, stop acting like you don't know me. You know me, nigga. You feel me? Like, don't act like.
Let's not use Kodak for that word. Kodak is all over the place. Kodak is all over the fucking place. But with Wayne, it's hard for us to keep up with every artist every day.
I don't expect him to be on the internet
he
checking
don't
for
fucking know,
young rappers every
like
day.
how you would say, the culture. Like, you know how he always says that shit. Yeah. But anyway, like, Wayne is Wayne. His timing is not up. Wayne is more concerned with who's the top of the game, like the Kendricks and shit. That's why Kendrick is on his album. I'm pretty sure he's in tune with Cole, and of course, Drake. You know what I mean? And other people. He's not checking for these motherfuckers that.
Yo, I always believe rappers are fucking lying when they're acting like, yeah, I only listen to our shit, man. We don't listen to nobody else.
I agree with that.
Line. Now, for Wayne, I kind of do believe that he really don't be knowing that. But I'm saying, bro, you got to be in the know a little bit. Like, you got to be a little bit familiar. Not saying you got to be fans of nobody, but if you don't know nothing going on beyond what the fuck you last did.
Can you imagine Grandpa Ak, by the way? Ak at 55. Are you going to still be listening to like 21-year-olds and like
Hold on.
Wait.
But the minute I stop knowing what's going on, I've left this culture. The minute I stop knowing, I left this culture.
Every single detail of what's
going on? Not every single detail. These are artists who are very established.
Okay,
like, you can't tell me like.
I hear that, but keep the same energy for these young niggas that don't know nothing about the OGs. Ooh. Keep the same energy for these young niggas that say, well, I don't know nothing about Tupac. I don't know nothing about Biggie or Styles P or Hove. I don't listen to that shit. So keep the same energy for them niggas, because they be popping that same shit about Hove. I don't listen to that. I was born the year his album came out. Why would I even give a fuck? You feel me?
Good point.
And I do. Like, if an artist came out saying he never heard of Tupac, now, of course, if he weighs Tupac's music differently because he grew up in a different time, that's different. But if you never heard of Tupac, you making rap music?
Never hearing about it, but I'm saying it's like, I don't think Wayne
is saying he's never heard of these niggas.
Yeah, that's not far-fetched.
Yeah,
like, because you know why?
I believe it.
Think about this. Think about it in this context.
I'm not denying that I don't believe it. I believe it 100%. I'm just saying, if I'm to think that you just have zero even.
All right. I get what you're saying because you said it a few times, but think about it in this context, right? You being Wayne, and every artist that you see is an extension of yourself. So most of these young artists that you see today that got dreads and face tats and lip rings or whatever the case may be is basically watching another version of yourself. Would you be as concerned, or would you feel like you're in the fucking Twilight Zone?
It's not being concerned. It's just
not concerned or being aware. I mean, you're not gonna want to be aware when everything you're looking at kind of looks like you. You're not gonna like.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. If he said it that way, I'd be like, you're right, nigga. But other than that,
but that's why we saying it. Like, that's
I don't even know if that's how. that's how he views these new rappers.
No, I
don't know if
understand your point, Ak. I just think Wayne is a very
views them like
special
that.
case. From what you hear about Wayne, he chills at home, he's smoking, he's watching Sports Center, he's skateboarding. I get
Right.
it. He said like he's
being
been
a
rapping
dad,
since he was
you know what I mean?
so young that like
And-
sometimes he wants to take a step back. That's understandable.
And let's be clear, I know we're having Wayne week, and I know I might be the little Grinch that's raining on the parade a little bit, but we got an Eminem for that shit too when he sounded distant and like he was in Detroit and never left his
Hold
mansion
on,
for
but
air.
now
That's
we're going
two
far. Is
totally
Wayne sounding
different-
distant?
No,
and-
no,
and,
no.
Like he's
Like he sounded like he wasn't in tune with criticism. He sounded like he wasn't in tune with anything that was going on.
I don't think that-
And then he dropped Kamikaze, which answered a lot of that.
I don't
which he
think
was.
that M didn't know about the criticism. I just felt like he was just doing him, right? He was just doing him. Now Wayne and M is they're both greats, but they're two different sides of the coin, two very different sides of the coin. We're not looking at M to know all the same shit that you would want Wayne to know.
No, well, I'm not even talking about just like, do you know an artist? When M dropped his project, we got at M saying, yo, listen, you clearly either have Yes Men around you. This is the project before Kamikaze.
All right.
You're not listening to anyone else, and you clearly don't know what's going on. And if you think you know what's going on, you think, oh, the same approach that I used 10 years ago will work now. We killed him for that.
But
And he
was it
came-
specifically just about the music? You were also upset about
It was
the
also about-
rollout.
it
We
was
didn't
about-
like
it
the
was-
cipher. We thought
the
all
Trump
of,
thing,
right.
all of that. He took an approach that used to work for him. And you know how with Wayne coming out, you said it's like, yo, we want Wayne to do Wayne. M was doing M.
But-
he was doing M. However, it just didn't work.
Wait a second.
And we killed him.
Kamikaze though is M being M. It's just hip.
But
look,
M letting everybody know, nigga, I'm here and I'm still hearing what's going on, and I'm very much connected to what's going on now.
I feel like M and like Kamikaze, and this is, off track from Wayne, but I feel like Kamikaze is a really, really good album, rap-wise, but I feel like that's the first time we seen a legend get pressured by the internet. With everything that was going on, because everybody was so critical of it, and he made an album not about everything that was on the internet, but he understood what people were saying about him, and that's the first time he put in his raps. Usually, like Wayne, I wouldn't have wanted to hear Wayne rapping about what people were saying about him and all that criticism. I just want to hear him be him. The thing about the M shit prior, it just wasn't as good as the Kamikaze shit. It's not. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. Ak, you can't say.
No, hold on. Yeah, that's part of the reason.
That's
but
a lot of it.
But let's not act like it wasn't because of the direction he took. He took an album to address critics, and he had a chip on his shoulder, so to speak, rather than another album that he was packaging with the same old beaten up themes and strategies that he used to sell 1 million albums with. And people just said, bro, this is actually really whack. And it probably was the first time he ever heard somebody, it somehow penetrated his force fields of yes men to say, yo, this shit is really whack.
I feel like that was a lot of, social media.
And making that comparison, all I'm saying is that you're right. We just want Wayne to do Wayne, but let's not act like we didn't get at M when he was doing what he normally did without having any type of understanding of how people felt or what was going on now.
Fair enough, but I do like Wayno's point. Like, if everyone sounds like his sons, and if they sound just like him, and they're dissing him, I'd probably be like, fuck all of you guys. I'm going back to Sports Center.
Nah, man, only one nigga dissing him now. Cut it out.
Only one?
But all of them
Only
look like
one has
him.
been disrespectful?
Well, Kodak was disrespectful
Right, okay.
too, but they did a song together. Cody and Dreamin' is fire.
But all of them look like. That's what I'm saying. Like all of them look like him, yo. It's
Is
like
everybody with dreads, colored dreads, we're giving away?
Yo, everybody listen. Everybody who calls himself little, anybody with little.
Except Zan.
Well, I mean, probably not. It's not Zan because he's not.
Don't try bully Zan while I'm on here. Zan is not feeling too good.
Okay, but
He's having anxiety.
listen, if you have little in your name, if you have dreads, and you have face
Lil K?
tats, what?
Lil AK?
Yo, all right, so let's...
Let's keep it moving, because I can't even make my point, because you gotta just say some funny.
No. Well, that's an interesting point. I don't even know if I'm prepared to debate that, because that just might be a fact. Like, if you got littles and colored hair,
But listen.
and dreads,
That's why
that might be just Wayne.
But that when you listen to the song Dedicate on Carter 5, and he talks about that. He talks about everything that he did in mainstream that all these kids are doing today. He didn't call out nobody's names, but he said, you tatted your face and screamed Sue Woo. You know what I mean? Like he said all of the things that's making all of these kids do the same shit.
Think about it, Akademiks.
It's not that many people.
Think about it. Let's get back to it later. I don't want you to like go into this one reckless. Just think about it.
Think about it.
In the meantime, we haven't talked about the Uproar challenge yet. I don't know if you guys. Do you like it? Have you been doing it? We know they filmed the video for this in New Orleans this week. We got like a little bit footage floating around the internet, and we have a nice little compilation of the challenge for us. Let's take a look.
5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go.
It's just so flexible.
What the fuck though? Where the love go? 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go.
Ak, you killed the shoot dance. Why don't you try this one? You did such a great job.
Again,
you did such a great job.
I'm gonna be the Grinch that's raining on everybody's parade on Wayne Week. This is the most forced challenge of the year. Like, I'm so serious, bro. I see my man Shiggy in a video, and I said, come on, man. We get it. The Kiki was a great moment. You get me? But they just made this shit up, and like it's like everybody's just trying to make it a thing. I don't feel this is organic at all. This, then there's a no stylist challenge. I seen French doing. Love you, French, but Jesus Christ, come on, man.
No.
Everything's on challenge. What I will say though, challenge aside, because I believe the challenge side is kind of corny with this. I like that Wayne is having fun with his music. This just seems like it's fun for him.
Yeah.
You get me? And of course, again, I don't even think he's too much in the know, even with this challenge shit. But I think he probably caught on now. Like I seen him and his kids, they were turning up to it. That's super dope. But this challenge is super forced. I like the song though.
I like the challenge because it brings back
memories of young Wayno.
No. I never was a Harlem Shaker.
Wayno,
it brings listen, wait a second.
Wayno with the do-rag.
No. It brings back light. It brings back light to Harlem and Harlem's influence because Special Delivery is a Harlem record.
You didn't Harlem Shake to that record?
I
Don't
didn't
fucking lie to us.
I'm not gonna lie.
Once, not never in your life.
I didn't Harlem Shake. There's no footage. There's no people to corroborate that story.
Is there no footage?
There isn't.
Okay.
I didn't Harlem, but I like it because it sheds a light on Harlem, and that's Harlem culture. Harlem has always been into dances and everything, and all those dances that even Shiggy's doing, and him being from Queens, they come from Harlem. So that's what I like about the Uproar channel.
So I was telling y'all this album's gonna be nostalgic, man. Get niggas in there, yo, man. This shit, I remember when this shit came out, that summer beat.
Yo.
Hey, where's G-Dep these days?
He's in prison.
Locked up forever.
Well, listen, man, I hope he sees the video and he says, you know what? That song I made, actually, I don't know what the fuck he's thinking about. I can't even lie to you. But G-Dep, if you were free, man, you should be in the video. I see A-Town in the video.
Do you know what's going on with you? G-Dep is not going to be free for a long time.
Did he like admit to a murder, I think?
Yeah, he did. You know, which, that's besides the point, but G-Dep has a space in this because people remember G-Dep through this record, so. Yeah. I'm all for the Uproar challenge for the kids. I'm for challenges for kids.
For kids.
Now look, I'm not with the challenges where old motherfuckers doing them. I'm all about challenges for the kids.
What do you mean?
But for the kid, that shit is for like the young teenagers, the early 20s. That's fun for them. When you start seeing dudes that's trying to do the Uproar challenge, then they throw their record on the end of the video because they trying to get hits. That's what I'm against. No,
actually, I kind of prefer the new, everyone's trying to freestyle to it. Even though like-
freestyle to it?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, people are trying to freestyle to it, like they're doing the remixes. I kind of like that. So sometimes with the dance and stuff, unless it's like really organic, it's a little cringy to me. But again, I can't dance, so maybe I'm just hating. I might be just hating.
Most times you are just hating.
Nah.
Especially when it comes to some Harlem shit.
Man. This is not Harlem. Uproar is not Harlem, okay? It's not G-Dep. This is not like the part 2. This is Wayne. This is New Orleans, okay?
Absolutely, but
a little hint of Harlem.
Without Harlem and without that song, we wouldn't have had a sample. Just damn, get the respect up, B. God damn, my nigga. You can't get a love, like no love for nothing.
Yeah.
This ain't Harlem.
All right, after you do the Harlem shit. You do the Harlem shit one time, I'll give it up.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
No.
We could do this one later.
By the way, I do want to see where this song probably lands on the charts because...
That was a question, actually. Like, is this going to be a #1 because of the challenge, even if you don't like it?
I don't know. Like, it's a new way how to really analyze how songs perform. And it's not only consumption, like how you see people like bumping it or whatever. It's like how you see people engaging. Are people dancing to it? Yeah. Is it something that's constantly even going out the boundaries of usually where it's consumed? So I don't know. I'm hoping that it charts high.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, if you look on iTunes, like the first 16 songs are Wayne songs.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know if
he's killing it.
I don't think that this would be #1, but I think it'll do well.
Yeah.
I think it'll do well.
Definitely top 20.
Top 20. All right, so last week we did promise to talk about Lupe's new album, Drogas Wave, and we haven't yet. Of course, the fans have been in my mentions like, did I miss the episode? Because you guys don't fuck around. So here we are. We'll talk about it quickly. So now the album is very interesting. So Lupe creates a storyline where slaves that jumped from ships didn't die. Now they're living underwater, and they're walking back to Africa underwater and guiding the waves to help save other slaves. It's like a very Lupe project, of course. Like you have to like really listen carefully to understand a lot. It's very deep. That's why we didn't want to rush it, and I still feel like I could spend another month.
Yeah.
But I know that Wayno has spent some time with this album.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, like, you know, for me, my favorite Lupe, like Lupe at one point in time was in my top 5.
Word.
You know what I mean? In my top 5. I felt like it was kind of a dip after Food and Liquor 2, only because I always pronounce
Tetsuo on You.
Tetsuo on You.
That's honestly my favorite of the last 4 albums that he's dropped.
Because it was like a 3-year dip, right? So it was like, I kind of fell with Lupe because so many things happened in that 3-year span, but listening to this album, I mean, Drogas Light, I wasn't really a fan of that one, only because it sounded really, really experimental musically. But this one, I was happy with this album. I listened to it. I didn't really just want to listen to it one day and then jump into it. Cause like you said, you can't just listen to this and be like, all right, I'm gonna talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. But I did go over it, and my favorite song off of there is Stronger. You know, King Nas was dope. Murrow Jr. And a lot of the songs sound like they're about reflection of his career. Like on Imagine, he talks about like not changing things and like his whole storyline prior to getting his deal, his homies that been locked up, and how his music changed his life. But he always kept that same narrative.
Yeah.
But you gotta really be a Lupe fan to dig in on this.
You
but
do.
overall, out of a 5, I'm scoring it as a 4.
Okay.
It could have used more the old shit, because I like Lupe's singles, you know what I mean? I like when he has like singles that can't hit radio and he could educate you as well. But overall, I'm really happy with the album.
Yeah, it's dope. I think it's one of the early songs, the one where there's like a lot of Spanish. It sounds like you're about to be in a Tarantino movie or some shit. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, he rapped in Spanish on here. That was kind of ill. And on God versus The Right Things to Do, he rapped with a little like Jamaican accent on there.
That one was from
All right, wait a minute. Give me. So other than those tracks, man, any other tracks I need to check out on this shit, man?
I'm gonna say like,
or this is one of them joints I gotta listen to the whole thing.
You gotta listen to the whole thing.
Well,
and then make your own edits.
I don't know if Ak, like, I wouldn't tell you listen to the whole thing because I know Ak is gonna be like,
short attention span.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, bruh, I can't fuck with this. Right. Nah, but I would say Ak, like, if you just looking for like, you know, Lupe to give you like a dope joint that you could listen to over and over again, for me it was Stronger. You know what I mean? That was the joint I played. That had the most replay value for me. So I say go with Stronger, and also with King Nas. King Nas is a dope one as well.
Okay.
I see my man Wayno kind of getting the meaning of for replay value. Okay.
Brother, you're not gonna go there.
Okay.
We was talking about that the other day. Okay.
Hey, where Lupe rank for you though?
Where does Lupe rank for me?
Because you say he used to be top 5, don't he?
Yeah, he used to be in my top 5, but my top 5 always changes because, you know.
Jane Smith in your top 5 right now?
Who?
Jane Smith.
In my top 5?
Yeah, but look at this guy. He's smiling when you say Jane Smith.
Nah, Jada Smith is not in my top 5 right now. I think the top 5 rappers in the game right now, I would have to go with Kendrick. I would say Drake. Kendrick. This is like, yeah, I say the top 5 rappers in the game right now for me is Kendrick, Drake, Cole, Meek, and then I gotta throw Travis in there.
What if you found out Jaden Smith had a ghostwriter?
Oh, I'd be.
Wow.
Well, no. You know what? I can't even say I would be really upset because I don't look to Jaden for lyrical ability.
But
like, I don't
could
really
spit,
like.
And I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of wowed me a couple times with some bars.
No, Jaden is really dope. But I say that he still has ways to go because I really jumped on the Jaden bandwagon last year when the Sire album came out.
Yeah.
I wasn't really privy to the music that he dropped prior to Sire. Damn, that rhymed a lot.
Well, why do you think Lupe not in that top 5 then? Or are you talking more than about...
If he's talking about very current.
But for Lupe, my thing with Lupe is you know, Lupe, 1 minute he wants to give you an amazing body of work, and then he wants to train doing samurai stuff and doing, you know, he goes and lives in Japan for 3 months and stuff, and you just get, and the only content you get from him is Instagram lives and him talking. So it's like the biggest problem with me with Lupe is just his now he's had consistency in his projects, but I'm just saying like him being present in the game and all of that, and I think he got a little bit tired of it. You know?
I've put Lupe on my inactive rappers list a couple times. So even though he drops projects, it feels like it's like checked out. You get me? And what I mean is, just as you said, it's not in the game.
Yeah, he's not in the game.
Like he gives us some projects here and there, but could you actually put him on a list where these other people feel like they're actively participating?
Well, I feel like, you know, when we look at terms of career, because you know by the time when it's all said and done, that's what we all, like when the guy starts out, we will always want to look to, yo, that one day when it's all said and done, will you rank him? Yeah. I think he's one of the best.
Of course, he goes down as one of the greatest of all time.
He goes down
can't
as one
talk
of the
about
greatest,
him if we're talking about top 5
like
hottest.
Food and liquor. Food and liquor and the Cool alone is just like incredible albums. And then he dropped a slew of mixtapes. Like he has given us
all the music we needed. The rest of it at this point, it's like, we'll take it.
Right.
You know
But
I mean?
I love the balance of Lupe, because like he always talks about, you know what his addiction is? Ferraris. Like, you know, he said he had a point in time where he was just buying Ferraris, and a lot of people wouldn't know that about him. Like he's really big into cars. Like I said, also he was talking about Go Yard on the Cool album, and artists just started talking about that shit like last year. That's the first person I heard. Of course, there's always gonna be somebody like such and such said it 2 days before him. But you know, Lupe has always been ahead, like with techniques when it comes to music. So I'm happy with this album overall.
Last I seen a Lupe was challenging a nigga online to a fade.
People don't want that fade with Lupe, man.
I saw him on Twitter. He was like, yo, what's good with that fade? Yo, this nigga's trying to do the Squab Love Challenge.
Let's not forget he's from Chicago. You feel me? Let's not even forget he's from Chicago. But, I mean, he trains in all types of martial arts and shit. So
let Lupe be great however he wants to be.
Yeah, but salute to Lupe for this. This is a dope album.
Yeah. All right, so let's get through some quick hits, and then we'll get to some fan questions.
Do it.
First up, we got Desiigner, currently fetching about $250,000 per show, he says, which is great. But recently, during a show in Denmark, he got into it with a fan who called him a rip-off version of Future. He ended up swinging on the fan, and he also threw up all over the stage.
Not good.
If he had just thrown up on somebody else, it would have been like the Kyle movie, The After Party.
That was.
Boy.
And he's from Harlem?
No, he's not. He's from Brooklyn.
Oh, look at this thing.
Relax. But I'm not gonna hold Brooklyn to that.
Oh, man.
I looked up. I was looking down. I said, what?
Oh, man. That was disgusting. But
Thank you, Ak.
I do want to say, I'm going to give credit to our designer, though. Listen, I don't know what's in his diet or whatever, but I'm glad that, he be throwing up. Even though it's disgusting to see, he don't walk off stage like, all right, it's a wrap. I see niggas stub a toe and they're like, yo, this is done.
Yeah.
This is done.
This is
like,
it.
We'll catch y'all next time. I'm hurt.
Yeah.
He still gives a good show, and to be honest, I would say at this point, like, even though I do think he makes pretty good music, I just feel like that wave he used to have, you know what I mean? That novelty factor of, yo, you sound like Future, I think that's kind of like old. So he has to come back different. But I don't think he makes whack music. But I do think performance-wise, that nigga burn at least 5,000 calories every time he's on stage.
He does.
Oh, man.
The throwing up shit. I agree. It's like I've seen people do like get off the stage
Now
for less.
He's purging. All right.
For a headache, man. I've seen niggas be like, yo, I gotta go.
Yeah, I think the whole thing. I want people to give Future more respect, because it's like honestly, it was 1 second. Let's keep it 100. When Panda came out, it was 1 second where you could say Desiigner sounded like Future. Desiigner is not in the realm of Future as an artist. Like, and that's no shot to him. That's just being honest. Like, he can't fuck with Future in that lane. Now, when it comes to Desiigner, I understand his frustrations, and I want people to know that you can't just say anything you want to fucking say to somebody and think that they don't have any emotions or they have no feelings. Mm-hmm. And if you came to the show, if you paid money, or even if you got in for free and you came there to enjoy yourself, just enjoy yourself. If you have this sentiment that you feel like he's a whatever, leave it alone because like now you taking on a situation that didn't have to be.
Yeah, that's a really good point. He's close to the stage too.
Yeah,
so even
yeah.
if he didn't come as a fan, like a friend brought you, why are you all the way up there?
Yeah, why are you
Get
doing
the fuck
that?
out of
You
the
know
way
what I
and
mean?
let a real fan at least enjoy it.
Well, it goes into the next point we got. You know, Desiigner say he getting $250,000 per show. I don't know who he thought he was fooling with that stat because I think that was at a festival. I don't think that's a Desiigner show.
That was in a festival. That was in
So
like
somewhere
a venue.
in Denmark. Hey,
Yeah, that
maybe
was in
with
a
like
venue.
Well, I
with
don't,
like Euros.
was he headlining?
I mean, he was. Well, I don't.
Right. All right. Let's ask.
I don't know what that nigga's
Do you
getting.
think that nigga is getting $250,000 per show?
I don't. Me personally, I don't think that is. But I've seen artists get crazy shit out of nowhere, and he's had one thing about having a hit record.
Consistently? Like, of course, maybe like one sheik in Dubai gives you that to perform at their at their little like 2-year-old party. But come on, man.
That's only for Drake.
I don't
gets
know,
paid
but
for those
I mean the
parties.
thing is that yo, this shit is like fucking boxing or wrestling. You gotta sell it, right? So even if you're not getting 250,000 show, if you got it once, you might throw that out there to make a motherfucker say, man, I got 100 for you. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when they might have been thinking about giving you 30 or 40.
I don't believe this shit, man. Desiigner, show me the receipts.
I don't care.
believe this shit
I don't care
at
that
all.
much for the receipts.
I care a lot for the receipt. When niggas start talking about Disney, I like to see the receipts. And I mean, listen, Desiigner, he seems like a dope performer. I will say, this is kind of, it's a microcosm. Is that a word?
Yes.
Microcosm? What does that mean?
Bruh, I'm nice. I'm in my thesaurus bag, bro.
Yo,
it's like
we
it's
had
on
our
a small
dictionary last
scale.
year.
It's the same thing as. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
To Wayne and Thug. You get me? Like when there was a second, you're right, a second in hip hop.
Yeah.
Niggas started doubting Future, man. Niggas was like, yo, this guy Future, we got a better one because no lie, and I've said this even to this day, and people have always killed me for saying it, but you're from New York, you might agree.
Right.
I believe Desiigner raps better than Future.
Oh, come on, you're wildin'. You're wildin', my nigga. You're wildin'.
You feel like you've heard enough
you're
content?
Wildin', my nigga.
No,
To
you're
back
wild.
that up?
Wait.
Come on, act. Come on, act.
No.
Like, act. Come on.
You gotta
No.
let me finish my point.
All right, go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
Lyrically, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some verses. Shit, even the Panda, bruh. The second verse on Panda, bruh, is probably better than half of the shit lyrically in Future
we're gonna have to
discography.
pull
Out of
the
your
second
fucking
verse on
mind.
Panda.
Future?
Hold
Serious,
on.
bro.
Future? Like,
Future's
come
my
on, yo,
guy.
man.
I defend Future all the time.
No, he's not your
Future's
guy
my-
because you wouldn't say that.
No, hold on.
Come on,
No,
Act.
here's the thing, right?
Are there multiple verses, or are we talking about just that one verse?
You said the
Give us
verse
some
from.
more.
Wait. You said the verse from. Wait.
You said the
No.
second verse on
You
Panda?
said, you
I
said
ain't gonna lie,
the
that shit.
verse from Panda is lyric.
I can't quote any
That's
lyrics
better
from
than
Panda
half of
except
Future's
the
lyrical
hooks.
catalog. Seriously.
Name some
First of
lyrical.
all-
Okay,
wait,
name
wait
some
a second,
lyrical
wait a second.
Future songs, bro.
We not looking. First of all, we not looking to fucking Designer for no lyrics. For
Neither
lyrics.
is
All right,
Future.
act. I don't
Like,
even know if there's technically.
songmaking,
I don't
come
even know
on,
if there's
bro.
technically
No.
a second verse on this song.
Yeah, there is.
Is it really
Yo,
a second
act. I
verse?
can't.
I'll show-
Like
I'll
you
show
said,
you. Hold on.
bro. Wait a minute. You said that Future. You said.
No, like he has to prove it. Let's go with the Panda example. Pull a quote for us.
I can't believe you.
This shit right here.
We was
Well,
doing good today, my nigga.
I guess they
got
call
broads
all
in
this a
Atlanta.
chorus.
That's what I'm saying. It's not even technically.
This shit right here, this shit is fire, man. I'm telling you, man.
Let's hear
Niggas-
some
Yo,
lines.
are
What
you
lines?
kidding me?
I'm not gonna sit here and have a read along with.
All right, listen. Wait a second.
I can't
Yo,
rap
You said he
genius
was
enough.
inaudible,
All right, so
but
let me ask you a question.
He was inaudible because he's mumbling. But when you actually figure out what he's saying, it's like, oh shit.
Nigga, fuck all that. Did you ever listen to Future when he put out Streets Calling? Those mixtapes. Wait. Did you ever listen to those tapes, Streets Calling? Fuck all the other, the Metro Boomin tapes and the Beast Modes and all that. Even Free Bricks with Gucci. You saying that anything Designer's done is lyrically better?
Listen, of course.
You said more. You said half of the shit he's ever made.
I have a small sample size because he ain't put out that much music. I'm just saying, when I'm talking about just ability, lyrical ability, I believe he has more. Now, this is
Finish because I got something more. I just gonna end it with one thing.
this is why I'll say he can't compete with the Future because Future just makes probably, if we're thinking about song makers or the best song makers in hip hop, Future is probably top 3 or top 5 with like Travis Scott and Drake. Like he's that good at making songs. Desiigner, what we've seen ever since Panda, he's not that good of a song maker, even though people
You don't
might
know no
feel
songs
like
from this nigga other than Panda. What songs you know?
That's a lot.
What songs you
What
know?
about
New
Timmy Turner
English
was
is dope.
like the next.
Timmy
thought
Turner
that
joint is dope. Outlet
Don't bring
is
this
fucking
nigga.
fire.
Listen. Don't bring
Price
this
tag,
nigga.
like, come
I'ma
on
keep it
now.
100.
You don't know his music like that.
Listen. Don't bring this nigga up in no conversations with Future, dog. Like, he can't fuck with Future at all. Like, don't even play like that.
No, wait.
Listen.
I'm not bringing up the conversation. He slapped the fan for talking about Future.
No, but
that's
you
why
said
the conversation.
What came from nowhere saying his second verse on Panda is lyrically better. Like, just putting lyrically and Desiigner in the same sentence is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, putting lyrically with Future,
it's ridiculous. So don't even compare this nigga
I'm just
to
saying,
him.
the nigga could have rapped.
You can't compare. You can't even put him in the same conversation with nothing with Future, dog. None of that shit. All that shit you just named ain't even lasting 5 years amongst the people.
Well, that's where
the culture, so to speak.
That's what you're missing the whole point.
What's the point I'm missing?
The reason why it doesn't last is because he doesn't make good songs like Future. So the only comparison that was kind of cool is out the window because you don't make good songs.
So you just cadence?
No, I'm telling you.
Delivery?
Desiigner's not a bad rapper.
Okay.
But song maker, if he was a good song maker like Future's a guy who could make Love Me for Rihanna and then go make I Got Some Good Cushion Alcohol for Wayne. Like, come on, like he's very versatile. He's a song maker. Designer's not a song maker. He's a decent rapper with an interesting voice, and the flow is pretty interesting.
It's a lyrical with Desiigner, dog. That's all I needed to hear.
All right, so
like,
with that space, this is
done.
done. Should we pick up this conversation with some supporting evidence?
No, because I don't see nobody. Like,
I'm not gonna rely on Desiigner to go give me some new bars, bro.
No,
but
based on what he's already put out, I'm talking about.
I'm sticking to it. Sticking to it. Like, we could go get your Future supporting evidence. I'll go on Rap Genius and figure out what the fuck this nigga was saying. This nigga be flowing, man.
I'll go on Rap Genius and figure out what he was saying in comparison to
anything. He be mumbling, nigga.
Anything that Future... Can we move on? Because this shit is upsetting me. And we was doing great today.
Fans,
this guy.
We're about to skip the next two topics and just get to the fan questions. So if you guys have comments about this, hit us on Twitter at EverydayShrug with 2 G's. You guys know where to find him. If you got problems with this, we could talk about it on our Monday episode. We are gonna start.
What? No, just a clarification, because niggas be.
You already know what's
going on. Move on, Ak,
I don't argue with niggas on
man,
Twitter, so you niggas who tweet me, I do not argue with you. Okay, I'll argue for free.
DM us your comments so we could talk
second
about
of all,
it Monday.
I didn't say he make better music than Future.
He said he's lyrically. Okay, let's move on.
Don't even bring that nigga up in the conversation with Future. Let's keep it moving.
Look how upset Wayno looks
right
now.
And I don't want people, because Designer's a really, really nice guy. Like, he's a very
slapping niggas down.
He might be slapping niggas, but he's a very nice, respectful young man. I like him as a person. But we just don't bring this nigga up with Future, man. Don't bring him up with Future, man.
Well, you know what? He did that to himself, and the culture did it too.
Can we keep going, man? Like, all right.
Can we pull up this Kanye question? All right, so
Ak is killing me.
We were talking about Kanye earlier in the weekend. I had a lot of people in my DMs telling me to shut up, that we're being biased and too anti-Kanye. So is it not hypocritical for us as a people to want Kanye to take off that hat and use his platform for good of the people when in fact our words are basically the same as the folks demanding Kaepernick to stand up? Basically saying Kanye shut up and make music is equal to saying Kaepernick shut up and just play football. I'll let you guys comment. I don't remember saying that. The thing is, Kaepernick is standing up for a good cause. He's well informed. It's like a real thing. Kanye is clearly not informed. He just sort of wakes up, a thought pops into his head, he tweets some reckless shit. I just think it's reckless because he's uninformed.
Right.
But anyway, what are your opinions?
What I think is, I mean, you know, thank you to T.I. for coming up here and having that conversation with us, because it doesn't change everything I felt about Kanye, but it did give some more clarity as to his thoughts as to why Kanye is the way he is when he said he has his mind made up whenever he's gonna do something and not to just throw him off. Because I've always been like, damn, he did something I like. I seen him with G Herbo, I'm like, yes. Then he does the next thing, I'm like, no. So I always fight with the back and forth with him. In terms of like what Kaepernick has done and the stance he's taken for the cause he's taking a stance for, I don't think that's comparable to what Kanye is doing. At all. I don't think it's comparable. Now, I like the conversation about the 13th Amendment and all of that, but like T.I. said, let's wait and see. I don't think that you could compare these direct struggles of what they've gone through together. Nobody told Kanye to shut up and not specifically not talk about politics. We just said, if you're gonna talk about politics, at least know a bit of what you're gonna talk about.
Just be a bit informed.
Just be a bit informed.
Don't speak just on emotion when it's
and don't equate the shit to the fashion industry. Right. You know, people is misplaced, like the way how Paris is doing me.
Yeezys.
Yeah, it's like let's not compare that to a man kneeling and sacrificing a profession he worked for his whole life to bring awareness, social awareness to police brutality against our brothers and sisters who die for their skin color because somebody's afraid of them. Like, let's not compare those two
Well,
things.
in the context of what this question is asking, it's the same thing. It's the person's right. It's the same thing. Now, whether he's informed or not, that's a different conversation. But because you're right, because of he's not informed, people don't want to hear that opinion. But also because that opinion also isn't in line with how the majority of hip hop thinks, and also the audience that's affected by hip hop. Yeah, we don't really want to hear that shit, especially from someone who came from saying some different shit. It feel like he flip flop. It's like a pancake.
Exactly.
You get me? So hearing it from him feels a little bit more detrimental than others. But in all honesty, it is kind of the same thing. That's why T.I. did kind of defend him in the sense of we can't cancel people, right? You can't just tell, because T.I. uses his platform beyond music too. You can't just tell him, because we don't like your message, shut the fuck up. What we should do, and I wholeheartedly believe this, you gotta just counteract. Like when someone has a big platform, you use other big platforms to counteract their message, right? If they're uninformed, you point out where they're not sounding
But what if
smart.
they don't want to be informed? What if you're trying to help them and they're like, that's great, I'm just gonna keep doing what I want?
No,
I understand
it's not about them at that point. It's about the platforms they have and the people who are influenced by them, right? Like, I get it. One of the problems even with Donald Trump, right? Like, he has the biggest platform in the world. If he says some shit that's destructive, like, who's gonna counteract that? Like, there's no other platform that is equatable to the office of the president of the United States,
so
right?
I think that's the thing with
Kanye
the
West,
thing.
he's a fucking entertainer. We see every other entertainer speaking up. And while he has a significant voice in hip hop, we are trying to get that counter voice that's kind of letting people know that this nigga is on some
Listen,
other shit.
unless Kanye is on the spook that sat by the door shit, which that was the person that infiltrated the government and put the people on and all that. Unless he's on some shit like that, then I don't know where this is gonna go. Cause my whole thing with it is like, I don't mind you. I'm an unapologetic black man. Like I'm for my people, and I'm not ever gonna like hide that ever. And I feel like when you say things that's at the detriment sometimes, because everything he says is not always wrong, but when you say certain things that's at the detriment of my people and it's misleading my people, I'm totally against that. And the reason why I said let's not compare the two is because Kaepernick hasn't done anything that's been misleading to our people and the stances that he's taken. I mean, this man has sacrificed. It's a lot of NFL players that feel the same exact way that he feels, but they're the head of their household and they don't want to lose their money, so they don't want to take that stance against that and lose their profession. He's lost. Like, think about this. He's a massive athlete. He still has the ability to be, I mean, he's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he was good enough. And he gave that up. He's given that up. That's an ultimate sacrifice. For everybody wants millions of dollars and fame and all that, and he sacrificed that just for the voice of his people. So, not saying that Kanye may not do something in that realm one day, but as of right now, I can only go by what you've presented to me.
Right.
And like you said, he kind of flip-flop a little bit, and that shit hurts. So we can't act like it don't hurt. I don't want to write him off completely, but we got to see how it goes. But along the way, it's a lot of...
And really, to be fair to this question, when, like, I've said, yo, man, Kanye, I'd rather you just be quiet, just put the music out, because I might not agree with what he's saying now, but I love his music. So I don't want what he's saying to turn me off from everything he's done, which, you know what I mean, I could compartmentalize. You get me? Like, I like your music. I might like some sneakers by you, nigga, but I ain't with the other shit you talking about, right? Maybe other people are, but it's not me right now, right? And because of that, I would rather not hear you kind of like ruin that opinion that I'm trying to have of you, which a lot of times with music, what we usually think of your music, what we think of you. Right. You get me? And it's hard when you're kind of going all over the place with that.
Yeah, so look, maybe we just take a Kanye break. So, like, to your point, to be fair, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I just think I'm going to stop talking about it because I think it's like life or death. This is like global issues. Like, other countries could be affected. We still have kids in cages. Like, there's a lot at stake here, and I think it's bigger than fashion and bigger than music. Right. And that's my personal stance. So I'm just going to fall back on the Kanye conversation forever.
What I will say, though, is I did hear somebody that heard some of this Yandhi album, and they said that he's kind of, like, what we want from him, excuse me, what we've wanted from him for a long time, we kind of gonna get. I don't know if it's
What does
true
that
or
mean?
not.
Is he flip-flopping then?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm hearing that it's in that space. Now, we gotta wait.
Okay.
We gotta wait, so.
To be continued, I guess. All right, let's see. What is our next question?
Yeah, wait till y'all see the cover, y'all, the new cover with the MAGA hat, bro.
Is there a strategy to the timing of dropping an album in order for it to land in the greatest albums of the year conversations? So many albums dropped over the summer and they get hyped, whereas the people who are dropping during the fall feel a little subpar.
Well, like, in this game, timing is everything. I think the biggest part of doing music is that you have to also understand marketing, understand strategy. Because when you put in the whole thing about you having an album of the year, it's basically what the people want to consider it. And I think if you are abreast to like other information about other artists dropping, you might not want to drop the same month Drake is dropping. You know what I mean? Depending on the type of caliber artist you are, or you might want to let him have his run, or get your shit out earlier before then, so that you could be considered in that conversation. So I think it's definitely a science to how you drop. You know, that's what people at labels or people who have their own inside teams work on day in and day out, while the artist is being creative, so they don't have to deal with those things. Right.
I think it differs if you're trying to be in that conversation for fans versus critics. I think if it's gonna be like critically acclaimed, like one of the greatest albums of the year, it shouldn't really matter. But for fans, it does, because fans live in moments.
Right.
Like, oh shit, this is the month that Drake dropped. Yeah, this is Carter 5 time right now. You get me? You drop some shit, it'd be like, you hear something? You don't hear nothing. Exactly. So you gotta you want to carve out your own moment that your album is given the proper time to shine, and also given the proper respect that people could judge and weigh it accordingly. So, for example, if I'm dropping an album this year, right? I don't want to drop with them little 7 to 7 joints. I don't want to drop when Drake is dropping. I didn't want none of that Queen debacle, right? To be honest,
That's
at
the whole
this
summer.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Right now, I'm probably gearing up to drop in the winter.
How late? Do you feel like it's too late? Like people who drop albums like in the middle of December, during holiday season, or
the industry shuts down at like
right?
It does,
but fans versus the industry, like you were saying.
Well, it does, but it doesn't, because you remember, like, the whole golden era of hip hop was built around that time. Like, Jay used to always drop his albums like when it got cold. Every fourth quarter, I like the Mike Jordan. Like, he always would drop in the fourth quarter to let people know, like, to let it ride from the fourth quarter into the year. I think times have changed where albums used to only drop on Tuesday. Now they drop any day of the week. They drop on Saturday even if they feel like it. So I think it's kind of based on the momentum, what you have going on. Like you said, where you want to be considered at. Do you want this to be a conversation just for the fans? Do you want to present it to the Grammys? Like, it's a lot of different ways you could go with it. But ultimately, you gotta make sure that you create some sort of strategy. You can't just think, all right, I'm gonna just throw it out there and see what people think, because you might have a really, really great body of work and you throw it into the wind without some sort of plan, and people talk about, yo, remember that joint that came out? Why y'all not talking about that? It's because the strategy wasn't there, and it might have not got on everybody's radar.
That's half of my DMs. Why don't y'all ever talk about
but
such and such that never makes...
Yeah, and playing that time for the Grammys is very important too. But the change we've seen, especially with this year, so again, even on some label shit, right? The way how albums come out for the year, like the albums that's coming out usually for fourth quarter, those really usually have the big marketing budgets. Now we're seeing like some of the heavyweights, they came out in January, they came out in the first quarter of the year. First quarter of the year, usually you're not throwing out your heavyweights. We've seen Cardi drop. I mean, like Drake came out in the second quarter, pretty much second quarter.
June, right?
Yeah, June, so second quarter.
Yeah. So we got a lot of heavyweights early, which now kind of leaves a space for the end of the year, and we're wondering what's coming. But it changed the whole dynamic of how music is being released. So I think that's what your label got to do. Your label got to figure out when's a nice, good pocket for you to drop, and then drop that you could have an impact and last.
Yeah, because it's a lot of albums that we had to review, to talk about on the show that we're not talking about anymore because there was nothing to follow. It was just like, all right, I just put this out, I'm a chill, I'm a tour, and then that's gonna be that. You gotta have a plan. Like, I see Nipsey Hussle still rolling out content off of Victory Lap that came out in February. You know, so you gotta have an idea where you want to be with it, and it has to be a marathon, pun intended, you know?
The greatest albums conversation this year is going to be pretty interesting, right? Because we still got more. We're expecting Meek to drop, maybe.
Oh yeah, he's dropping. He's definitely dropping.
Uzi's probably going to drop that project at some point. So it seems like we got a couple big releases left. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you for the question. We're going to do one more quickly before we go. JC Fernandez wanted us to rank our top 3 hip-hop biopics. Wayno wanted to go with Malcolm X before he realized it was like hip-hop biopics. But I mean, some of the best ones are like Straight Outta Compton, Roxanne Notorious, 8 Mile, the Tupac one.
Oh,
I think Straight Outta Compton is probably the best one, just production-wise, storyline, the way it's put together. Yeah. And I also really love 8 Mile. That holds like a very special place in my heart.
8 Mile and Straight Outta Compton, keep them on there. Take Notorious and Tupac shit.
Yeah, Notorious was alright. I've seen it a few times. I don't think it was great.
Tupac was horrible. It was horrible. Like
Oh, I did watch that. Ak, what do you think? Have you seen any of these? We know you don't really watch movies.
I do watch movies. The fuck?
I don't watch no damn movie.
Straight Outta Compton. Well, yeah, Straight Outta Compton, bro. Straight Outta Compton, 8 Mile. And fuck it, man. ATL, man. I'm just throw that on the biopic.
That's a biopic. Damn biopic.
That's a biopic now, bro.
What are you talking about?
How many biopics are there? We don't have that much of a pool.
We don't have that many.
Yeah,
but we're hoping that more keep coming, especially since Straight Outta Compton was good. But then the Tupac one came, and that was like a...
Since we're talking about biopics, I would love to see a Wu-Tang Clan
We need a Wu-Tang one. We need a Lil Kim one. Right, her part in Notorious was like,
Yeah, like I think like only Little Kim could tell her story. The thing with Little Kim, I feel like, and you see it through a lot of her interviews, I think a lot of times she's just not comfortable in her life talking about certain things. So I would love to see it in a biopic, because she's been through some shit.
That she executive produces for
That she does, that she picks the person, because she's been through a lot of shit.
What about Get Rich or Die Trying?
That's not
Hey, this might be a sleeper for y'all. This might be a sleeper for y'all on some real shit.
Oh, boy.
One of the best hip-hop biopics, Killer Season, no cap.
Oh, okay, I thought.
Seriously.
All right.
Seriously. Some Harlem shit, B.
You know it'd be a great biopic? Nas. A Nas biopic would be
Well, he did it was a documentary, right?
He did a documentary, but like if he did a biopic, because even in the Roxanne movie, you see like the kid go up to her and he goes to rap, and she like, I rap for me, and he don't have it together. She like, yo, next time I'm gonna fuck you up if you ain't got your raps right. And then he comes to her and raps, and he's like, he's like, what's your name again? Nasir. So it's like that's where his career kind of started. Him seeing Roxanne and Roxanne Shante at Queensbridge and rapping for her, and him taking it serious, seeing her. So it's like that's an amazing story with that just part right there. So a Nas biopic would be ill. A Jay-Z biopic.
Yo, the Jay-Z biopic, I wonder if that's already in the works. There's no way he's not gonna have one, right?
It's not coming no time soon.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I want to see a full-on Gucci Man biopic, man. I need that.
Gucci Man shit would be crazy.
Because that's the greatest like transformation.
But how much of the story can he actually tell?
Everything. It's great publicized. He already did the time.
Since we in Atlanta, Outkast biopic would be really hard too. Like Outkast, because another thing is like when we talk about groups, it's so many groups. A Tribe Called Quest one, like a Tribe Called Quest biopic.
It always seems harder to put together a biopic though for groups, right? Because there's more people involved.
Everybody got their own version of what was going on.
Even on the Straight Outta Compton set, remember Suge Knight pulled up and all that horrible shit happened. It gets
but I mean,
messy.
it wasn't
Snoop. I definitely want one for Snoop, and of course Wayne.
Of course, Wayne. But I mean, I feel like those would come later. But I think a Tribe Called Quest one would work really well, because they'd had a documentary, and then just like, good. You know, Phife Dawg passing away, like, you know what I mean, him passing away, him and Q-Tip, they were mending their relationship, because you could see it in the documentary, but a biopic about that would be ill. And I think that's something that could come sooner, only because, you know, Phife is gone. It would mean a little bit more. I think they're working on an Old Dirty Bastard one, too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they're working on an Old Dirty Bastard.
I just hope they take their time and make these good and get the stories right. Because
a lot of people that want to do
biopic, man, with game and everything.
I mean, but you know, this is the illest thing about hip hop, because everybody has a story.
Yep.
Like even the one-hit wonders have stories. You know what I mean? Like remember? Oh, wait a minute. You remember MC Hammer's biopic?
I never saw that actually.
Yo, MC Hammer had a biopic, yo.
Was it good?
It was good, yo. It was good because it showed how.
On VHS?
Huh?
Where was that shit out at?
It was like an original on cable or some shit. But it was a good
VH1 shit.
It might have been VH1. I can't remember what it was, but it showed how he made all that money. He was paying for like 150 people to be with him all the time, and then when he lost his money, how nobody was fucking with him. I mean, every artist that's made it to some sort of stardom has had some sort of story from struggle to triumph.
We want all the biopics. We just don't want to see any of them on Lifetime, please.
Yeah, no
Please.
Lifetime biopic.
We're good on that forever.
Are they gonna get at us?
Who?
Lifetime.
What are they gonna do?
Right.
I think that's our show for today. Unless you guys have anything to add. No.
Nothing. What are you guys doing this weekend?
I'm gonna do a quick
I just
plug.
want to say, Suge Knight's son is bugging the fuck out. Tupac
yeah.
did it. I'm sorry to tell you. I
he's
know
in
y'all been
Malaysia.
like lit on the gram. Tupac, I'm
How
sorry.
did he get from Cuba
he's
to
not
Malaysia?
He's not in Malaysia.
Tupac is definitely.
It's a very
dead.
random
You know
place
what I mean?
you
Like,
could've picked.
I think that when it first happened, because I was a kid when Tupac died, is like when it first happened, that was like a conversation, because everybody had like their conspiracy theories and all that. But at this point, it's disrespectful to the family that man has left to even be talking about something like that.
Yeah, man. I hate when dumbass fans be thinking there's like niggas be just hiding.
But why is he
No.
doing this? Clout chasing? I don't understand the point of it.
His father just got like 28 years, man. Shit goes left. You feel me? Like, might be off a little bit. You get me?
Yeah, it's
He was
crazy.
defending his dad a lot, and his dad just took 28 years.
Dog, I would defend my dad till the end too.
But that's what I'm saying. After your dad just gets 28 years, shit, like, when someone's grieving or mourning, I understand you might say some wild shit. That's the wild shit.
That's some wild shit.
All right, so before we go, quick plug for all the ladies watching the show. If you're based in New York, so Laura Stiles from Uproar in the Morning, she's putting together some really dope panels and stuff for Envision Fest. So it's gonna be in Brooklyn, October 20th. Yeah, your girl Tinashe is gonna be there, Saweetie. There's gonna be a lot of performances, Malibu Mitch, and also some really dope panels.
Tinashe.
Come on.
Nah, but
I can introduce you, but I'm gonna do a woman in media panel with some women I really respect, and there's a lot of other things. Loving yourself, even if it makes you uncomfortable. So if you wanna come out, just check out the website and get some tickets. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
That's lit, man. Salute to Laura Stiles. Very, very dope person. Very, very dope colleague in this game.
She's a sweetheart. Yeah, we're gonna put the link in the YouTube description box if you want to check it out.
Dope.
I guess guys could come too, but it's for the ladies.
I'm not going to something that's cool. I'm going to Comic-Con today.
Oh, that's today?
That's today.
Have fun.
Well, I'm going twice.
Are you dressing up? Or
I'm dressing up on Sunday. Me and my daughter are going to dress up on Sunday.
As what?
I'm going to dress as Thanos. She's going to dress as Gamora.
I don't even know what that is, but all right, sounds good.
We're going to have fun.
Cool.
Have fun.
Father-daughter day, man.
Yeah, man. You feel me?
All right,
20
guys.
years from now, I might have that.
20 years. Yo, I cannot wait
Hell
to
no, I don't know
meet
kids.
Grandpa
Get outta here.
Akademiks. He's gonna be
He has a
amazing.
I got a snake, though.
Keep sending us your questions for Struggle Exchange at Everyday Struggle 2Gs on Twitter. Send us DMs. You could DM me. I try to go through those once a week. We'll see you Monday on Everyday Struggle.